Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 7th and 8th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline Comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silver Sunday, this Sunday evening, July the 10th. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
I am good. I'm wore out, though. Tommy wore me out yesterday.
You were in a galaxy far, far away.
We went to a galaxy far, far away, and my legs are still feeling the pain today. But it was fun. We had a blast. BJ and I hung out with he and Renee, so we had lots of fun.
Nice.
So and I see Luna took her first ever comic book shop trip.
She did. She loved it, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, I'll show you what we got her.
Excellent. Yeah, I was going to say, what was her favorite comic?
Ooh,
that's a nice one.
This is Tales of Suspense number 98.
Wow.
Cat vs. the Panther. So yeah, that's going to go somewhere special for her in my box.
It's a bedtime story, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. And Mummy couldn't have a go at me about spending the money because it was for the babies.
Smart man.
Yeah. Well, and 98 is just before the switch to the split, right?
If you say so. I just like the cover.
So Tales of Suspense, that features also, there's an Iron Man story in there, right?
Yeah, Captain America and Iron Man.
Yep.
Capcom
They go
1, 2, 3,
through.
4.
I can't remember. They go through issue 99, and then then they split and become Captain America with his own title, starting with issue 100, and Iron Man.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very, very cool.
So yeah, that was that. She loved
Tales of
obviously.
Suspense is one of the few Marvel Comics runs that I have nothing in.
Really?
Oh. I don't have a lot of it. I don't have a lot. I just like the cover of this one.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some sharp coverage back then, right?
Yeah, they look cool. They look cool on the wall.
And Roberta, how about you? How you doing?
Trying not to catch COVID, actually.
Oh my gosh, is it
The
all
whole
around you?
household, almost whole household has it.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry to hear that.
Worried here. Not sure if I'll be okay or not.
So you're sequestered in your room office there?
As much as I can.
Anytime they come to the door, you just do this, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Stay away. Don't breathe
I'm
on
trying.
me.
Not sure if I have any hope of not catching it. I'll see.
Yeah, it is tough. Once it gets into your household, it's pretty much not necessarily a foregone conclusion, but maybe,
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, yeah.
It's just worrisome.
It is very worrisome. I guess the good news is it's been around for a couple of years now, so they have a better handle on, how to handle it and how to deal with it and that kind of thing.
Well, at least it is a little bit less deadly, which is, one of the bigger factors that, has been, I think, one of the biggest panics about it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So
yeah, I know we've talked about that before.
This version of it is, the one that's popular, at least, it is a little bit milder. So hoping that's okay.
Yeah. Well, hopefully if you get it, it'll be no worse than the sniffles for you.
Don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed. A shout out to Coliseum of Comics. If you are in Orlando and you like comic books and you want to buy some comic books, you should go to Coliseum of Comics. Particularly if you want to buy some Silverline comic books. They have Silverline Comics. You know what? I need to add that photo. I took a photo of their display on East Colonial. I have not been over to Claremont, but I know they have them at Claremont as well. So if you're looking for Silverline Comics and you're in the Central Florida area, go to Coliseum of Comics in Claremont or on East Colonial in Orlando. Tell them Silverline sent you. But you'll get a neat little Coliseum of Comics logo on it. It's funny because we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, I think. And somebody sent me a message that they didn't realize that the Coliseum of Comics had their logo on it. They're like, great, now I need that copy too. So I'm like, yeah. So yeah. Also, Orlando Collector Deviants OCD. If you like fan stuff and you are a fan yourself, you should follow OCD. They go around to a lot of the shows, and I've said it before. One of my favorite things is the walkthroughs that Steve and Trish do. Steve always takes a camera and walks around and usually says hi to people. You get a kind of he holds it above his head, so you get the camera, you get a pretty good view of everything that's going on. And yeah, and they do streams once a week, although they kind of cut back on them some. And then, of course, last but not least, if you're an independent comic creator and you need a printer, you should look no further than Kablam. Kablam is a digital printer that prints, as you can see, prints our comics, and they do a fantastic job. Tell them we sent you. Oven says, please make your way into Kissimmee too, please. We are going to Kissimmee, but in a much smaller numbers. I think, I'm trying to remember. I know me and Tommy and Haley, and I think Jose Fuentes is coming up for the Kissimmee show. So can't remember John. I think John Crowther might be there too. I'd have to check my list, but yeah, there are going to be some of us at Kissimmee as well. So, and that, for those who don't know, the Florida map, that's about an hour south of where Daytona Comic Con is. So a little more than an hour. So okay, that's it for the business. Our topic tonight is sports and comics.
All right.
That's a deep. So there's lots of different ways we can tackle this, right?
So you did there, clever.
Thank you. I've been working on that line. I figure we'll touch on a little bit of all of them. First thing, what about characters in comics who do sports?
You mean
Isn't there a bad guy called the Sports Master in the Flash?
Oh,
is there?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Is there really?
Sure.
He's
Pretty
called.
sure. I've seen the Justice League cartoon. I'm pretty sure it's called the Sports Master.
I've got to go to the.
Hang on, I want to Google this now because maybe that was an alternative reality thing.
It's the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
The Sports Master. I'm getting an exercise machine coming up. I need to add Flash to this.
Flash comics.
Comics.
It's going to be right.
Yes, there is.
Sports Master. Yeah.
Is a supervillain appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. He's usually depicted as a criminal who uses sports-themed weapons and gadgets to commit crimes.
Yes, he does.
His first appearance was, good grief, you dug deep for this one, Pete. May of 1947.
Wow, really?
That's purely based off the Justice League cartoon. If you've ever seen it, he crops up once and know that because it was funny.
So apparently there's two versions of it. There was a new version that appeared in Manhunter number 17 that was John Ostrander, Doug Reich, and Kim Yale. So now I'm getting deeper into the wiki, and there's several versions. Earth 1 version, New 52. Yeah, okay, so interesting. That's one I was not aware of.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My work is done, I'll leave.
Not yet, no. What else?
You want me a color?
What's that?
You want me a color?
Yeah, good. I didn't think about that. Yes,
I can share.
Roberta's like, I'm going to get out of answering this question by offering.
I am not.
I remember there was Marvel had that New Universe line back in the mid '80s, and they had a team called Kickers Incorporated. You remember Kickers Incorporated?
I was waiting. I was just hoping somebody would bring that one up.
And they were a football team, but I don't remember much of the story. I just remember they were a football team, and they got imbued with superpowers or something like that.
Did you buy them?
I had the first issues of all the New Yorks because, hey, collector's item. It was Marvel's New Universe. Yeah. And a couple decades later, and in the 10-cent bin, you can find them right now. So
yes, you can. Yeah, I am sad to say I bought them. But like you though, I was still, I was still sort of in that collector mentality, collector mindset. Is that Marvel was doing something new, and I wanted to get all of them. And so I bought every single new universe title they came out with, the number one issues. I bought 2 copies of the number ones, and then bought the runs until I finally just said, okay, I don't want these anymore.
That was something that Jim Shooter had headlined, right? That was when Jim Shooter was still there. Is that
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of it was good. I mean, there was a dozen titles, I think. There was Kickers, there was DP7, there was
Night Mask.
Night Mask. That was an interesting one. I think that Steve Englehart.
I can't remember.
That introduced Starbrand, didn't it?
Starbrand was pretty good.
They utilized Starbrand in the Avengers comics.
Oh, they did.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I think there's one called Spitfire.
Spitfire, I remember that. I got some old. I bought a load of. When we were younger, my dad would buy us. We're going to charity shops, or not charity shops. They're called antique stores.
Sure.
And they would usually sell like packs of just random comics for that. You get like 30 comics for like £3 or something.
Nice.
So you just pick those up. They'd have lots of new universe stuff in those. So I found out about them.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I've got some stuff lying around.
Spitfire and the Troubleshooters is what that one was. Yeah. Yeah. Then there was Cyforce.
Oh, yeah.
And so Night Mask was actually Archie Goodwin, it says.
Oh, okay.
And then there was Mark Hazard, Merc. There was Justice that had the funny looking U. It looked like a V.
Okay.
Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there were 8 titles.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't guess I'm seeing any other titles beyond that. But yeah, so it looks like the DP7 lasted 32 issues. What? Justice 32 issues. Kickers lasted 12 issues.
Oh, well, year.
Is a group of heroes for hire, all former pro football players led by Jack, who gained superhuman strength, speed, and invulnerability after the White event at the cost of his brother's life. So, yeah, they're all former pro football players, and they all had the big, bulky kind of. They reminded me a lot of the Wrecking Crew, kind of the way the physicality of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably for me the top one that comes to mind is the Kickers Inc.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Can we think of any others?
Well, I mean, if we're talking sports, there was Muhammad Ali versus Superman.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
That, which is like freaking amazing Neil Adams work. I mean,
yes.
It seems ridiculous, and then it's just like, well, Neil Adams did it, so it's awesome.
Well, also, I think we would be what's the word I'm looking for? We should mention martial arts, right?
Sure.
I mean, don't you consider that a sport?
It depends. I mean, I guess there's like the combative sport part, so there is that. But yeah, that's a. I guess if you were to consider it, you definitely have a wide variety of those, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's the context, right? I don't know if I saw anywhere they did it as sport, but here's one that did it for sport: Daredevil, boxing, and his father.
Oh yeah,
Jack Murdoch, right? He was a boxer.
Absolutely.
So definitely that one.
And of course, we're kickstarting a book right now whose character is a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Switchblade is a boxer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot all about boxing.
Yeah.
Wildcat Justice Society. Wildcat was a boxer, right?
Well,
yeah,
okay.
Right. He was. You're right.
He trained all the others to fight.
Definitely. And I think I recall, I mean, it wasn't like proper sports, but I remember several of Chris Claremont's runs of X-Men where if they weren't starting out in an action-packed Danger Room sequence, they would start out with them having a picnic or doing football or doing some kind of sport, or baseball, doing some kind of sport to kind of like be the establishing, opening scene.
So some of the power.
Oh, the X-Men were always playing basketball, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, kind of like
skimpy no tops and.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
It's like beach volleyball.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, the Twilight movie, they the vampires played baseball too. Remember?
They did, really?
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so we have basketball, football, baseball. Trying to think. Those are kind of the the big three in the U.S. Yeah. What about soccer?
Oh, basketball.
What's that?
I said basketball is a really big one.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. I can't
think of any.
Yeah, I can't either. I'm trying to think of some of the bigger names. Okay, so did we ever see Larry Bird? Or was there Michael Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember them ever being in comics.
I remember G.I. Joe. They had, at one point, there was some licensing deal where they were going to have a character based on Rocky Balboa. And they had like their G.I. Joe Marvel Universe kind of thing where they would have all the profiles and the dossiers. And they had a character named Rocky Balboa, and he was a boxer. And then I guess the deal fell through because in the next issue that came up of that was like, it said, there was no that's a falsified record. There was no person employed by G.I. Joe named Rocky Balboa. But I mean, they had gone through the trouble of giving the whole bio and the illustration.
Yeah.
And everything, so I remember that. You know.
Well, that's kind of cool. They addressed it that way. It was falsified information. You know.
Yeah, definitely. It's clever.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any like basketball. What about soccer? Are there any soccer players?
I don't recall.
I don't think so.
My problem is I don't know enough about soccer to. I mean, Pele is the last really name I remember in soccer.
Say that again. How do you pronounce it? Pele. Americans.
Hey, it's a long time ago.
But he did have an ad in a comic book for Orange Tang back in the 80s with Pele. Is that right? Am I doing with him on it? It was illustrated, and it had him doing like a kick, and it was in the comic book. So
because he did those upside down sort of backward kicks, right?
Yeah. So there was a comic book drawing of him back in the 80s.
Why are you shaking your head? Does that have a name?
Does that kick have a name? A description of the overhead kick.
Is there a specific name?
The overhead kick. Yeah.
Overhead kick is what it's called.
It's okay, guys. It's not your sport.
You know, I'd love to disagree, but unfortunately, like the rest of the world does it, and it's just we're the ones that are out, so it's kind of hard to deny that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Everybody else calls it football, and it's the number one sport in every other country, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the metric system of sports, basically, is
right. Yeah. So what about isn't rugby a big sport in England?
Yeah. Yeah. Rugby played in a lot of countries around the world.
Yeah.
Not in America. Well, no, it does play in America, but not.
We have some colleges that play rugby.
Yeah,
you have these sports. They're just not. They're not your national sports.
Correct. Yeah.
Like we have American football over here.
Do you?
It's just not played at a level that I'm aware of that attracts any sort of investment or attention or anything.
Do your high schools have American football teams?
No.
Germany does. Germany has an American football league.
Really?
Yeah. One of my the guy that I used to work on in films with, his son is a professional football player in a team called Rheinfire in Germany, of all places.
I like the name of them.
It's a cool name, right?
It is a cool
name.
Yeah, it is a cool name.
It's a great name for a kid. You know, this is my son, Rheinfire. You know, it's like
right.
I suspect it probably has a lot to do with where you had your Air Force bases, isn't it? Your American bases. You also had a large presence in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You also had a presence here, so that's a certain extent.
Yeah.
And I guess where else out in Japan and.
Yeah, because they love baseball over there, you know.
Yeah, baseball, basketball, and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas we were everywhere, so everywhere plays what we played.
Yeah.
It's pretty much true.
Yes.
What about cricket?
Yeah, so cricket's played everywhere. It's played in America. I've noticed. When I was out there were cricket teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sport that I've always wanted to try. Because I've never ever played it at all. I've seen it and I don't fully understand it. I've watched it. I've never watched it with anyone who understood the game, right? So they couldn't explain it to me. But you know, just watching it, I picked up some.
It's very difficult to get into it if you don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably like any sport, I would think.
But football, soccer, is very easy. You don't really have to understand any rules. You just understand one ball goes in their net and their ball goes in your net. That's it. Simple.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a big sport. It's so easy to understand. Anyone can do it. Whereas you start getting things like American football, the rules get quite complicated. For us, we can't understand why you stop and you throw the ball and then you stop and then you kick the ball and you stop. Why are you stopping? Stop stopping. Just play the game. Rugby can be difficult because you have that scrum, and if you don't know how to do that, it's a dangerous thing to do. Cricket is the rules in cricket are many. What else? But basketball's quite easy. Again, it's just a ball in a hoop.
Right.
I know you get a bit more complicated with moving and traveling and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's just pass the ball, get in the hoop. Where is this guy? Where is he?
He's out riding bike.
He's riding a bike.
He is. He got a nighttime invitation to ride on Sunday night. I said, dude, you can't go ride on Sunday night. I'm like, that's our stream night. He goes, well, they asked me to do it on a Sunday night thing. He goes, I might be back in time, but I might not. I'm like, dude, you go Saturday night. Go, you know.
He can live stream. He just put his cell phone on the handlebars, and we just get his head like this.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Hear the crocodile or alligators in the background chomping away.
Yeah. Chasing. I think he said that's what they're. I want to say that's what they're doing. They went to ride around. It was like an alligator ride, and it's almost like they were going and tempting the alligators to eat them, and because it's the
that sounds like a good idea.
Wow.
That doesn't. I was just glad he didn't invite me, because I'm like, yeah. The only reason you want to invite me is because I'm slower than everybody else.
It's like, what's it saying? To get away from a bear, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than the person next to you.
That's right. Yeah.
That's funny.
Shoot, I was about to say. So what about do we ever see rugby or cricket in comic books?
Not in US comic books.
So have you seen them in UK comics?
I've seen them in our UK British kids comics, like the Beano and the Dandy, Dennis the Menace sort of stuff.
What's it called? Beano and the Dandy?
You never heard of the Beano and the Dandy?
No.
They're like the longest running British kids comic books.
Are they terribly expensive?
No.
Bring me one when you come over here.
Okay, I'll try and find one.
Don't get an expensive one, but just bring me one. So I can.
Have you never heard of Banana Man?
I've seen Banana Man.
No.
Yeah.
You've never heard of Banana Man?
Now I've seen people put on a banana suit, but
no.
Yeah.
Well, that was a cartoon. I saw the cartoon, right?
Yeah, the cartoon Banana Man.
Yeah.
There's a
He's
cartoon
come from those comics.
Yeah.
You Google Banana Man.
I'm going
Beano
to.
the Dandy.
I know. What was the mouse? Was that white mouse with the eye patch? Was that?
Oh, that was Danger Mouse.
No, oh my gosh, he's going for it. Yes.
Look who showed up.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Where are you at, Tommy? Is that
Hi.
I am.
Is that alligators growling at you?
I am done biking, and I just wanted to make it clear that I didn't skip just for today. Remember, I'm having surgery on my left eye on Tuesday, so it's going to be 2 or 3 more weeks before I can go bike riding again. So today was the last time I could go. So.
Don't
but I'm good
blame me at
now.
all.
I'm in the car now. In a minute because it's pouring raining and I'm going to die.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
No dying.
But I just to defend myself and tell Pete that it's called soccer, not football. And rugby, we don't play rugby in America because you guys kill yourselves when y'all do that over there. So we don't do it.
You're a little gladiator.
Oh man, there's somebody fixing to hit me. All right, I love you guys, but I'll see y'all next week.
All right,
wish me luck on Tuesday.
Good
luck on Tuesday.
All right, bye.
Bye. That's awesome.
That was a good excuse.
I just wish we had like the overlay on the bottom, like live on the scene. Tommy Clemente, Silverline Comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we might have to make that tagline
I
happen.
think so.
When I first came on, I heard the sound. I said, "That sounds like, is that alligators growling at him?"
That's what I thought it was.
I have found Banana Man, and I will confess, I had never seen nor have I ever heard of Banana Man.
It's brilliant. It's so funny.
It looks funny though. Well, I am seeing Beano.
Beano and Dandy. Beano's one, Dandy's the other.
Yeah. I'm not sure Dandy would go over in the U.S.
Yeah, that's a different.
Has a different meaning.
Back in the day, I got like some Action Force comics from England, and the format was like magazine size. Was that just indicative of that, or
no? That's the Beano, Dandy thing, everything like that is a magazine size. So Judge Dredd magazine size. Yeah.
Okay.
It seems to be a British thing.
It's kind of cool because you see the art. You know, with that size, you really get in there. So, yeah.
It's just you should roll them up. I guess you rolled American comics. Roll them up.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I'll bring you some.
Yeah.
I know the guy who writes Banana Man.
So, oh, really?
Really? That's cool.
I'll see if I can get some stuff.
Yeah. Have y'all looked at the? I'm gonna. Tommy has it. He didn't give me permission to share this, but I'm going to share it anyway. This is. He's just. Did you see it already? What he posted in our shared group? Oh. I am about to show you. It's not going to have any sound, but it won't matter.
Okay.
So, y'all see that?
The crocodile.
Wow.
It's an alligator, but yeah, look at it. It's heading towards him. It's coming towards him, and he sits there filming it. Right? Look at it. It's moving over towards him, and he's just like, I'm just gonna film you. Like, wow, dude, what are you doing?
He likes to live dangerously.
So, stop screen share. All right, y'all did see movement, didn't you?
It actually was frozen on my end.
It's frozen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, shoot. Well, let me see. I can try it this way. It's frozen. How did it freeze? So share screen. Let me share Facebook video. All right. So tell me, does it go now? There it goes.
Yeah, oh my God, that's actually.
It's going too fast.
Wow.
Yep, it's coming.
Wow.
See, it's heading towards Tommy, and he's just gonna sit there and film it.
Wow. Look at that.
I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" It's like, and then it just sits there and stares at him.
Like, there's a stare down right there.
Yeah, it's like, are you coming? Or are you going to sit there? Because I will eat you if you cross that fence.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we were talking about cricket.
Yeah, sure.
So one of the things that I said that I would like to work into a comic book somehow, some way, and I don't know how. I don't know how. Because it has to make story sense, but it's one of these things that I found to be so cool. The oldest ball game in the United States is a game called stickball, and it was played by the Native Americans here. It was played by the Choctaw. Now in 1990, no, that's not true. 80. Stephen Butler and I went probably in 89 or 90. We went up to Philadelphia, where the Indian reservation is there in Mississippi. And, we went to the dances and see all the arts and crafts and things like that. And we're like, hey, we want to see this stickball game. We knew what it was, right? Because, we'd read up on it, and historically, we knew what stickball was. But we'd never seen it play. There are drawings. If you read anything about, like, I think Hernando de Soto, when he came over, they saw a game played, and there's drawings of that. Literally, here's what this game is, right? So they put these two posts. It's about the size of a football field, and they have posts at either end, kind of like a football, the goal post, right? Except their post is just a straight up post, right? It goes up probably, 12 feet, something like that. It's just like a 4x4 driven into the ground, right? And there are 25 people on a team.
Wow,
so
really?
There are 50 people out on the field. It's a big mess of combatants is really what it is. And they have these long spoon things, okay? They're I don't know, probably about yay big. What is that? 24 inches, 30 inches long, something like that. And at the end, they've just got a little a cup, a little spoon-looking thing. It's all made out of leather. And then they have a little leather ball that is about the size of a golf ball. The object of the game is to throw that ball and have it hit the post. So when you hit the post, you get a point. Well, here's the deal. They have two of these spoon things, right? They one in each hand, and then they can flick the ball. I've seen guys running down the full speed, catch that little ball in those spoons. Moving full speed. It's like, holy crap, right? And here's, you know how they defend their goal? They stick their body in front of it.
Oh, really?
So somebody flicks a ball, whack, right in the face.
Is it hard? Is the ball like? Because
it's a little. It's about the size of a golf ball, a little bit smaller, right? But it's just wound leather. So it can't be soft.
Wow.
I mean, it's not a metal ball or anything.
Yeah.
It's not like a marble, but they're flicking that thing at you. It can't feel good. And fights will break out. You know, it's a little bit like the Yankee game that they play with sticks on the ice. Hockey. It's a little bit like hockey, right? It's a little bit like hockey.
Yeah.
What's that?
I never heard it described that way, but I knew exactly what you meant.
Yankee game played on ice. We don't get ice down here, so we don't play hockey. But the fights will just break out, and that's what would happen. Fights would just break out, and the thing about it is the game keeps going. Mm-hmm. They can break out in a fight. Okay, those two guys are fighting. Let's keep playing. Fantastic to watch that game. So wow. I don't know how. I don't know if I'll ever be able to use it, but I want to get that game in a comic somehow.
What was that sport? I think they were trying to make inroads here in the 70s, but Highlight, is that what it's called? Where they had that like this hook that you put on your arm, like a basket.
Yeah.
Right? And a ball. And then they kind of appropriated that for the Tron movie. That became something that was in the Tron movie as a combative kind of thing.
So that was a real thing?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Owen says it sounds like field hockey or a lacrosse.
Yeah. I thought it sounded like lacrosse, yeah.
Yeah. It's possible, but this obviously this game predates those. I don't know how many of the tribes played. I know the Choctaw played it, and I know that because Choctaw's based out of Mississippi, and so I know more about them than. Well, that's not true. I know some of the other tribes anyway, but I know that they played it. So,
one place where there's comic books have sports, but I mean it's not in America, but in Japan they have so many sports comic books. I mean they have.
Yes, they do.
Oh gosh, yeah, baseball, boxing, golf, sumo wrestling. The sumo wrestling ones are really well drawn. They have so many. It's absolutely crazy, and they have cooking manga too.
So because when I was at the Q school, some of the guys were like, "Oh, you got to watch this, whatever it was. It's about this. They were playing netball or basketball," and I was like, "Why? So what do you mean? Why would I watch a cartoon about basketball when I can just watch basketball? I don't understand why I'm watching a cartoon about a sport." And they were like, "Oh no, it's amazing! It's really good. It's about all this stuff." And they play, and all it is they're playing basketball every week. The game. I was like, "Well, I can just watch that. I can't watch basketball. Why not watch the cartoon about it?"
I think there's a basketball one called Slam Dunk was like super popular.
I remember that. Yeah.
I
remember seeing it.
Yeah. They did a really. Oh, sorry.
No, go. You go ahead.
No, they had a really cool one that it was a really neat series. So it was actually about a guy who did competitive karate, like sports karate, and then he went into boxing. And it was this long series. And then the series was so popular, they went backwards and did his ancestors. And so then it was all about like his ancestors as samurai and ninja. And then they did one where one of his samurai relatives came to the U.S. and was in the cowboy days. And it just spawned this huge franchise. But it started out as a sports manga.
Wow.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, what about The Legend of Korra? I know that y'all probably seen that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had that. I can't remember the name of the game, but they played. That was one of the first in the first season. The two brothers, right? You remember the game I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. So they called it pro bending, right? And it was a derivative of the bending styles, which was actually kind of clever because from what I understood, I know several people that worked on those series, including the martial arts choreographers. And so what they were trying to allude to is that martial arts eventually becomes sports. So that was kind of their take on martial arts becoming almost like MMA. Because that story takes place after the events of the first series. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, and so what about made up sports then? Can you think of any other made up sports in comics? Oh, here you go. Tommy says pro wrestling, the number one sport. And what are superheroes really most like? Pro wrestlers, costumes and all.
Definitely. Ask John Crowther, right? He has his whole.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Catalog. Whole catalog is that, right? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, in fact, I want to say John's got a wrestling Kickstarter going right now, doesn't he?
I
think so.
Close,
yeah.
if not starting.
Yeah, we should plug that. So
let's find out more about it.
Wrestling. Terry Funk is what it is.
Is it it's not the Bushwhacker thing?
I don't know.
I think that's a book. I think that's the actual book he's going to do, right? Something along those
The comic biography of legendary Texas hardcore pro wrestler Terry Funk, 2009 WWE Hall of Famer and NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
He's just hooked up with all the wrestlers, isn't he?
Yeah. It says it's a comic biography. So, yeah, and I see comic book pages here. So, yeah, it is a comic book. But yeah, it's a wrestler. So yeah, if you guys are into wrestling, you should get over there and support John Crowther's Terry Funk, the Hardcore Wrestling Biography. We are big fans of John Crowther here because, of course, he's Team Beetle. Was he? Oven says, Rudy, Rocky, Coach Carter, and Cool Runnings, they have drama. We find out who they are and their dreams despite setbacks. Do those have comic books on them?
More movies, I think. But
yeah, Cool Runnings is a movie. I don't know if it was a comic book first. But...
I haven't seen Cool Runnings.
You've not seen Cool Runnings?
I have not.
Oh, no.
Is it about a soccer team?
No.
John Candy, right?
It's about the Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. 1993, that's an old movie. I should have seen that one.
It's so good. It's just got John Candy in it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Legend.
No, I have not seen that.
Well, that's what you're going to do this week.
Actually, yeah. I'm probably going to go see Thor on Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
We watched,
I don't think I can go until everyone's healthy.
You can't go for a while.
I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, unless you can like slip out your window and leave the rest of them behind. So we have to be careful.
Yeah, well, have fun. Let me know how it is.
Yeah, you want us all come? Tommy's already seen it. He started to tell me about it yesterday. I'm like, no, shut up.
Oh, he's such a spoiler.
Did he like it at least, or did he say if he liked it?
Yeah, he did. He said he liked it.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
That's good.
Yeah. Oven said the same thing. That's your homework, watching Cool Running.
Yeah, that's true. You should see it.
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up. See if I can find it on one of the streaming places and give it a watch this week. I can't get over this Banana Man. It looks so funny.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to find the cartoons on YouTube.
Oh, you might be able to,
right? Yeah.
On Netflix?
On YouTube, maybe.
YouTube.
Oh, yeah, YouTube. Okay. Yeah, the artwork reminds me a little of something. I can't place my finger on it. No, it looks funny. So do we want to see comic books about sports?
No. Nah,
Well, that's just mean, but no.
Not at all.
So,
I want to watch sports. I'll go watch sports. I can watch sports. There's 1,000 channels devoted to sports. I don't know.
What if it's a made up sport? Would that be different?
A made up sports?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In space or something?
No. Let's say like The Legend of Korra, for instance. Did you watch that, right, Pete?
I don't know what that is.
You've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It sounds wonderful.
It's actually
I
pretty good.
know of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it's not Avatar: The Blue for people, is it?
No.
No,
I don't watch any of that.
No.
It's anime, isn't it?
It's U.S. anime. It's kind of anime inspired, right? But it's U.S.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you walk up to an American and they say, "I draw manga," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, you don't. You're not Japanese. You draw manga inspired artwork, but it's not manga because you're not Japanese." That makes them so mad.
I don't. I haven't followed any of that, so I don't really know.
Yeah, it's anime inspired. It's
I know they did a film. Yeah, but last year they did a film, didn't they?
Oof, that's a rough movie.
Oh, you're talking about the live action thing?
Yeah.
Live action one. Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No, I'm not. I don't want to watch. I don't want to read something about sports. That's not what I read comics for. I read comics for superheroes and other things like that. Not sports.
I kind of don't mind it.
Oh, and you were just trying to catch us, weren't you?
No, I'm trying. No,
well, have you come up? Have you written a comic book about sport?
Talk.
Huh?
Have you written a comic book about sport, Roland?
I have not.
You're now trying to pitch to everybody.
Is that what you're pitching next?
No.
Hey,
DC. I just thought about it. DC did Strange Sports Stories.
Oh, they did?
Is that on Roberta's screen now?
That was Lips.
It looked like Lips.
It was Lips. It was a little soft, so I crunched it, bitmapped it, and put it back. Looks much better.
Nice.
So DC did a comic book called Strange Sports Stories.
Oh,
that's cool.
Y'all, no one remembers that?
I don't. What was
how
the
can
idea?
you guys not remember that?
Is it an anthology? It sounds like an anthology series.
I didn't read it.
Was it successful?
I'll share here. I got look right here. Look at all these covers to them, right?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I'm impressed. It's a great bunch of covers.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the one with the guy.
All right, maybe I'll read one.
So Mitch Bird, actually, I think this is a Mitch Bird one right here.
Is that Airstyle?
Oh, that's
Adventure.
Airstyle, yeah. Adventure
Airstyle,
Comics,
yeah.
actually, yeah. So DC did it, then Adventure did a little run. See, look, DC Strange Sports.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find that Mitch Bird cover. I remember. Then they got here. We go. Open new tab. There you go.
Oh, that's a cool cover.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that.
I like that cover.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't see anything sporty going on, but I do.
Well,
like
they've got boxing gloves on. You see?
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, there's a story up here called Armchair Quarterback. It looks like there must have been a couple of sports cards in with it too.
That's cool.
That would make sense.
So yeah. Anyway.
Well, see, I'm surprised there's not more in common just because trading cards, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of, I guess that's part of it. You know, my question, Owen says, why watch sports? You can go outside and play sports.
Well, exactly.
I think that's kind of why
go
it doesn't
outside and save the universe.
I think people that play sports are pretty amazing, but you know, superheroes, it's another level.
I kind of wonder if at least the American comic book audience, it just doesn't seem to really fit what they read comics for. You know, the escapism or that level of escapism, right? Like, in Japan,
why do you watch sports?
Huh?
Why do you watch sports?
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know how many. It's a rare breed of people that watches both. I mean, you like sports and you like comic books.
Yeah.
But I think you can attest that there's a vast majority of comic book fans who don't fit into that.
There's not a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And of course, I never understood why. As one who likes both, I never understood why.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
because
you have to teach people the reason, because I don't see it either. I think it's an interesting mix, though, that you have, because it gives you a different perspective, I suppose, on your writing. I think if you have a little bit, it's got to inform you a little bit of gameplay, you know?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, because there's always that. I think one of the things that sports do is the whole the competitive thing, right? I mean, it's all about competition and competing and winning. Aren't superheroes kind of the same thing? You've got to compete against the bad guy and win.
Definitely.
You got to beat him.
The difference is in the how.
Yeah. Well, there's a no nonsense to a lot of sports, right? Where it's not open to interpretation. I mean, there may be a referee, but usually if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. You know.
Right.
That's why I always thought it was funny when I was in art college. I go to art college and the teacher would tell somebody their piece didn't look good and they say, "Oh, that's my style." You know, I meant for it to be drawn that way. And then I go to martial arts class and, you know, you get punched in the face. You can't say like, "Oh, that was my style." My style is to take punches in the face. You know, that's you know, it either is or it isn't. There's no, you know, there's no interpretation there. You got punched in the face. You know? I think sports is like that, right? It's like, you know, you can't do it. You can't do it. You know?
My style is to get punched in the face.
I get punched in the face better than anyone else.
Exactly. Spent years doing it. Years.
Practice what you're good at.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You know, I'm glad you brought up the whole Japanese thing, because they have comics. You know, I remember in college when one of my Japanese friends showed me a comic book about golf.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a boring sport here to watch.
Yeah.
How could you possibly make a comic book about it? You know, it's like, let's make a comic book about watching the paint dry.
They had a manga about the guy who created instant ramen, like about his journey to formulate and revolutionize the food industry.
Oh my.
I mean, they have a manga for everything over there practically.
Well, and the thing is, they're okay with that. As a consuming culture for them, they're okay with it. But it's not like they don't like us. We're like, sports comics? No, I don't care.
Well, what in an alternate reality, what would have happened if that book Seduction of the Innocent didn't come out in the US? Where would the trajectory, right? That's the big what if of the art form have developed further, right? I mean, that thing set us back and locked us into place up until now. I mean, even just within, you know, even now still we're trying to break free of the constraints of what people consider the art form, right? And they didn't have that. So I think that's, I mean, and it's an American art form, so we can't say that in their case they were ahead of the curve. We invented it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's unfortunate how things go like that. But
you know, I think I've said this here before, but one of the things that excites me about the class that I teach is that you know, a lot of my students haven't read comics, as it's probably not a surprise, you know, to anyone here, but a lot of my students haven't read comics. So, you know, part of their job is to read comics. And I find it very interesting and very exciting that they don't seem to be, as a group. Now, you got to keep in mind that it's a very specific group of students I have. They're all creative writers. That's what they're studying to be, right? But they don't come in and with the attitude of, if it's not Marvel and DC, I don't want to read it. No, there's actually the opposite. They're kind of like, I want to read something that's not Marvel and DC, you know, and that's, to me, that's exciting. I didn't hear that as a kid. As a kid, you know, whenever I talk to people about reading comic books, they wouldn't read it. And you got, you know, y'all probably heard this as independent comic book makers, maybe. It's like, well, you know, I read Marvel and DC, but I don't read independent comics.
Yeah, yeah.
But my students don't seem to have that. They seem to have the opposite attitude of, it's almost like, I see the movies, so I want to read something different. I love that. As you know, as an independent comic book maker, I love that.
Definitely.
Owen poses a good question here too. He goes, "We like sports movies, so why are sports comics a stretch?"
It's a good point. I just don't think anybody's devoted enough to actually committed to doing a really good one yet. I think if somebody did, I'm sure we would. But commercially, I don't think anybody's invested the time. As of now, it might change.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what are the great sport movies? And then there are quite a few.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Ultimately, it's about the people, isn't it? Right. It's about it's a personal story or a team story, and then there's a big game at the end where they ultimately win or something happens that proves that it's all been worth it. I'm not sure you can get away with that in a comic book, having pages of dialogue and then last issue, there's the big game. And then if not, you're having a big game every single comic book, every issue, and then it just sort of loses its impact.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about what I watched recently, Hustle on Netflix, the Adam Sandler film, basketball thing. It's amazing.
It's good.
Really?
You're right. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
It's all about the character's personal journey, and it's great as a film.
Yeah.
It'd probably be great as a book, but as a comic book, you'd read 100 pages of emotional stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's a big game or big competition at the end.
But you could do the games leading up to it. You could, like if it was a boxing one, you could have the matches that lead up to the top tier boxer, or if it was a sports team, the games that lead up to the top tier playoff. I mean, I think it could be done. The one thing I think that the manga does really well is they make it almost superheroic how they depict it. I mean, they'll do things like there was one where I forget if it was a rugby comic, but the guy was about to shoulder check another guy, and they literally superimposed like a battleship behind him, like to imply like his force was like the power of battleship,
really,
or a bull. And I mean they just blow it so far. The best way to say it visually is if you've ever seen, there's a movie called Shaolin Soccer, one of the funniest.
Yes, it's brilliant.
It's great. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, you have to check it out. It's like watching a live action manga anime. And the whole shtick is this comedian, Stephen Chow. He did the movie Kung Fu Hustle, if you've ever seen Kung Fu Hustle. But the idea is that his Sifu has charged him with spreading the Shaolin martial arts. And he's trying to find a way to make it relative to the modern era. And he decides to apply all the martial arts moves to soccer. And so you have his whole soccer team. Everybody has a special kung fu move that it's crazy. It is amazing. You really should check it out.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, it's really
funny.
Yeah, very funny.
Well, it's like one of the things we talked about a couple of years ago, and I didn't watch any of it, but I know that the show was popular. These poker games, they were televising poker games, and of course, my first thought was like, who wants to sit around and watch a poker game? But apparently there was an audience for that, right? Well, when students talk about writing card games, I'm like, no, that's boring. It's just people sitting around the table playing cards. What are you gonna do? Show me the what's the Western, the good, bad, and the ugly. Are we gonna see those good, bad, and the ugly eyes? You can't do the soundtrack. Wah, wah, wah.
But see, I do think there is a way to make a card game look epic. And it's part of our current Kickstarter called Trumps by Roland Mann. If you haven't backed it yet, you should check it out.
Well played, Kurtis.
Thank you. I was waiting for that.
We need to get a bell like Billy Tucci has, right? Just ding a bell. Yeah. Kurtis gets a bell. Ding, ding.
But right, I mean that is a card game.
Yes, it is.
But you found a way.
It's not a specific card game, but it is very much card game inspired. Yeah.
Right. So that is an example of taking it, elevating it to that level where it is engaging. Fashion, right?
I had someone tell me when I was talking about it, they said they were picturing actual cards. When I was telling them giving them the pitch a little bit, and then they looked at it, they're like, "Oh, I was picturing actually like flat cards that had like legs and arms. I'm like,
Yeah, like Alice in Wonderland.
Right.
Yeah.
That was, I said, you mean like Alice in Wonderland? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not like that. Oben speaks a foreign language here. Hajime no Ippo
Hajime no Ippo boxing
is 1,000 chapters plus long. There's longevity in the sports genre.
Yeah.
So is that a comic?
Yeah, I think it's a manga. Isn't that the one? Owen can let me know, but isn't that the one that got rebranded as Megalobox or something like that, and it's now on Netflix as an anime? I think they reimagined this sports one into almost like a futuristic one where they have like these mechanical apparatus. But he probably knows better than I. I think that's one.
So here's a question then, right? So clearly the Japanese are okay with sports comics, and it's pretty obvious that most of us are not, right? Why is that the case?
I would say it's because they're comfortable with a huge variety of genres in comic books, right? There's actually businessman manga about this guy's business deals and stuff like that. So there's no association, the medium with the genre, right? Whereas for us as Americans, the medium and the genre more or less are the same thing for most people. That's kind of my thought.
Yeah. Interesting take on it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Sounds plausible to me. But don't ask me. I'm color and fire.
Yeah. As Pete's thinking, I guess for me, I don't know that I know the answer to that. I just know that if you tell me, hey, I got a comic book about, baseball, I'm not that interested in it.
It's got to be a really good pitch.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know that I want to read that,
Well, didn't John Crowther say that one of the things that was so great about his books is, and where he sold his books, it wasn't necessarily comic conventions. He would go to wrestling conventions.
Oh,
people that like wrestling would pick it up. So I think that's the thing is if you were selling a basketball comic,
go to a basketball game
or a conference or something like that. I think that's the difference is you don't go to the people who normally would read comics. You go to the people that like that sport.
Yeah.
And that's where you would find that crossover probably,
Yeah.
Because I don't think it occurs to people that they can find that, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's I've told John before, I think that's an excellent thing that he's doing is going to these wrestling, matches, conventions, whatever he's doing. I'm not a big wrestling guy, so I don't know, but I know he's going where the wrestling fans are. And I know that they move copies after copy after copy. They move a lot of copies.
I can believe that wrestling fans are comic book fans.
Yeah.
Because like Tommy said, there's a real crossover between wrestling and over the top superhero stuff.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I'm not sure you go to a baseball arena and flog a load of your comics about a baseball team. Maybe. Try it, Roland.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I
let us know next week how you got on.
I wonder maybe if you go to a Cardinal game and you have a comic book about the Cardinals, that might work because that's what John's doing, right? He's doing these biographies of these wrestlers, right? So if you go to if you go to a baseball game and you have a comic book about their team, maybe.
Well, I would say if it's between you selling a baseball comic book at a comic convention or you selling a baseball comic book at something baseball related, that's the big question, right? Which one do you think you might sell more? I don't know.
I don't think you're going to sell very many baseball comics at a comic book convention.
Yeah. So
I don't think that. Oven says they're different. Megalovox is a futuristic boxing world where people are augmented with tech. Where Ippo, it's classic boxing with callbacks to real legends.
Okay.
I bet you feel silly now, don't you?
Huh?
I bet you feel silly now.
I learned a lot.
They're not the same thing at all.
I'm slim in the waist.
Oh, embarrassing for you. We're all sitting here thinking, I bet he's got that wrong. I don't want to say anything, but he's got it wrong.
yeah, sure you did. Well, now that I think about it, the wife and I just rewatched, getting ready for Thor. We just rewatched Ragnarok.
I love Ragnarok.
Yes, it was still just as good. And if you think about it, there's the Contest of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sporting event.
Yeah.
Right? Thor has to fight Hulk.
Was awesome. Mm-hmm. But
It's
weird.
like wrestling, isn't it? It was like wrestling.
Hulk was so weird.
What's that?
So it's like wrestling, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind
Like
of.
boxing, wrestling, MMA, sort of two guys go in, one guy comes out.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's because it was in the context of the story about Thor that it worked. I don't know.
Well, it was also because they could pick each other up and fling them back and forth and back and forth.
and it's because everyone wants to know who's stronger, Thor or Hulk. Everyone wants
Yeah, and I wanted to know that.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. I had forgotten it, but when Hulk picks up Thor and slams him around like a rag doll, like he did to Loki in the first Avengers movie, he does that to Thor in this movie, and then Loki stands up and yells, "Yeah, now you know how it feels."
That's right. That's right. That's a good
I had forgotten that line.
That was so great.
Yeah.
He was so happy.
Yeah. Hiddleston is such a good actor. Such a good Loki.
Have you ever seen the test footage of him auditioning for Thor, for the role of Thor?
No.
And then they decided to switch him to Loki, but he has like bleached blonde hair, and there's test footage.
I gotta look that up now.
Yeah,
I have to see that.
Yeah. He's awesome.
I like it when they release some of the test their test footage where you can see where they read lines for parts and things like that. I saw speaking of which, I saw the footage where the test footage they did for the little boy who played in E.T.
Oh God, that's great, right?
Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, where Steven Spielberg at the end says, "Okay, kid, you got the job."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, wow, that's amazing.
That was very it was very good. I was like, wow, I'd give him the job too. All right, so I kind of think we've. Anybody else have anything to say about comics and sports? I mean,
actually, I just looked it up just to be certain. We were talking with Owen about that boxing thing. So Megalobox is actually based on Ashita no Jo, which was a boxing manga originally, a traditional boxing manga. But I guess it's not the.
Are you still trying to? You're wrong. You're wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. You're trying to fight your corner.
No.
Oh, no, what I actually meant was,
Pete, I forgot to wish you a happy 4th of July. So just for me to you.
I was right. Just
So I guess here's my kind of my maybe I do have kind of a final question. Is because Roberta kind of mentioned something about it a little bit earlier, is that how much from comic book readers, how much do you think there is crossover with sports themselves? And I kind of asked this question because, like, I've heard Scott Wakefield on Wednesday, when they talk about sports, you're like, oh yeah, sports ball, right? Like, apparently he knows nothing about any sports at all. I'm assuming that's what he means. But so what about here, Roberta? Do you like any sports? Watch any sports? Participate in any sports?
Nope. I'm sorry. I don't.
Nothing at all. So you don't watch?
I watched basketball when I was a kid, and a little hockey, and that's about it. I played soccer though for many years.
Cool.
Didn't watch it. I had no interest of watching it on screen. professionally, but I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Curtis, accepting martial arts.
Sure, of course. Given.
What about you? Sports?
Yeah. The funny thing is for me, like the more I did martial arts, the more I just appreciate movement and athleticism across the board. Like any sport, dance, anything, because there's a crossover, right? And even in like art and action sequences and movies and all that stuff, I mean, athleticism is athleticism, and so I appreciate it all. Even if I don't understand it all or I don't know how to play the games, I can watch almost any sport and get a lot of appreciation out of it.
Yeah.
So I would say I think the biggest thing is as far as storytelling in sports is, and for those that are athletes or have done athletics, for me the game or the match or whatever is always symbolic of like life struggle. That's why movies like we were talking about earlier are such a big deal. And that's the one thing you gain from sports is this kind of symbology of conflict and how to resolve it and how to deal with adversity. And I think if there's a way to bridge that, I think you could totally do it in comic books. So
and teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork.
Yeah,
definitely.
So the question, do you, Curtis, consume sports?
Oh, like watch sports?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. So like which ones? What do you watch?
Baseball. I watch baseball, of course, all the combative sports, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So do you watch like pro baseball?
Yeah.
So you a Dodger fan?
Depends. Which year? I'd say as far as team sports, it's baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and then I like watching like Olympic sports just for the sheer athleticism of them,
Yeah.
And then I love combative sports, definitely. Actually, the thing that I really get into now more than like MMA, I really like watching sumo wrestling. I've really gotten into watching that lately because it's just amazing that those guys, as huge as they are, can move as fast and be as athletic as they are. It's insane. Yeah. So
I watched the sumo wrestler show up on Whose Line Is It?
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of Whose Line.
Yeah.
And he showed up and he was really, really good and really funny.
Yeah.
Just the way they can move, though, you're just like, how can you're so big? How do you move that way?
Yeah.
Pete, what about you? You watch sports? Any sports?
Oh, yeah.
What do you watch?
Football, cricket, Formula One.
We didn't even talk about race car driving, did we? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched loads of sports.
Loads of sports. So and forgive my Americanism here. Is cricket televised kind of like all the other sports? Is cricket televised? Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen cricket on TV.
Well, the international games are always on television. They're always televised. The county, i.e. club games, not so much televised. No, you go to them. Go watch.
Do you have your local favorites?
Yes, like football. You have your team. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who does Pete cheer for?
Who's what?
Who does Pete cheer for?
I guess Surrey.
Okay.
That's who my dad played for when we were growing up. So, that's my home team. Even though they fired him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. As for me, you guys have heard me say probably multiple times, I'm a college, more of a college sports aficionado. I don't really watch that much professional sports. I used to watch baseball until they had the strike in 1987 and canceled the World Series. And then I think I just figured, okay, well, if you guys need money so badly that you're going to cancel the World Series, I don't need to watch you. That's not to say we actually go to some of the local minor league games here in person. I like to go sit at the ballpark and watch it. It's just something relaxing about just sitting there eating some peanuts and watching the guys. It's a slow game, it's not a fast game, but much better than golf. But I don't watch pro football. Matter of fact, it's probably been nearly 2 decades since I've seen a Super Bowl. I used to kind of go to those, Super Bowl parties and watch them. I can't remember if we ever did that when I was at Malibu or not, but it's been a long time since I've seen a Super Bowl game. Don't care for professional basketball. Only time I've ever seen a hockey game was when I went with Malibu to see the Mighty Ducks in LA play. Remember, we all went as a team.
Mhm.
Or team. We all went as a.
We would have gotten demolished.
Yeah. Well, so do you remember? This is a funny asterisk in Malibu history that probably not a lot of people know. Malibu had a basketball team that took on Image Comics.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, they beat the crap out of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think that we did it during a San Diego Comic Con. We kind of had ideas of, Marvel and DC used to play softball.
Oh,
And they would have an annual softball game, which I just think is cool. I would love to get a Malibu Comics softball team up. Malibu Comics, listen to me. I'd love to get a Silverline softball team up and compete against some of the others just for fun, It was kind of along those lines. And we're like, hey, I guess nobody wanted to play softball or couldn't find a field or whatever, so that we decided to play basketball. And Charles Marshall, who was one of our writers, he wrote some of the Planet of the Apes stuff, wrote some X-Mutants, and other things. Charles is a tall guy. He played basketball a lot. I think we had Gary Martin, who the inker, who is he was a tall, slender, kind of athletic fella. He played on the team. I can't remember who else played. Kirk Patterson, of course, played. Rob Sutherland played. But the Image guys were shorter, but they were fast and just ran the Malibu team to the ground, beat the dog out of us.
Was this post their business relationship with Malibu, or was this while they were still being published?
It was post the business relationship.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. But it was fun. Yeah. Not a lot of people know about it. There wasn't a whole lot of people there spectating. It was just bunch of Image guys and a bunch of Malibu guys and played basketball, and they beat the crap out of us.
Well, Tom McFarlane wasn't he going to be like semi-professional baseball at one point, or he was really into it at one point?
So
right?
that I'm a Todd McFarlane fan, right?
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah.
Dude's like 4'10".
He is?
He's not a tall
Yeah.
guy.
He looks like he's tall when he's speaking.
He does look like he's tall, but he's not. He's a short dude.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
He is. But to answer your question, I think, yes, he loves baseball and wanted to do that, but I don't think.
Aspire.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Let's see if I can find Todd McFarlane height. I only knew this because of when I met him. I'm like, dude, you're a short dude. I didn't say that to his face, but let's see if I can find it here. He's 5'5".
Okay.
So
really?
Yeah, a little taller than I thought he was, but yeah,
wow.
he's not very. My mom is 5'3".
Yeah.
So he's not a tall guy, which is nothing wrong with that. It's not what I'm saying, but it's just like, you don't find a whole lot of baseball players that
it's not an asset when you're a baseball player.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I think he was a partial owner of the Toronto Blue Jays or something like that. Something, yeah.
Okay.
Some Canadian team, I think. It's the only Canadian team I can think of. Anyway. Okay, enough about comics and sports. Oh, except for everybody knows I cheer for the Hogs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, of course I've got a Razorback shirt on. Half of the t-shirt, well, that's beginning to change because I'm trying to fill it with Silverline t-shirts now, but half of my my wardrobe and my t-shirts are all Razorback t-shirts, and Curtis and Roberta can probably remember me wearing them, Even back in my Malibu days. That's.
I think I have.
All I remember once is, Ron, you told me to say to Ross Ritchie, who now runs Boom Studios, you said, go call him an Aggie. He won't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it meant. That has to do with the college football, right? Is that it?
Yeah. Because if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, Ross Ritchie is from University of Texas, which is the Longhorns.
Okay.
Their bitter rival is Texas A&M, which is the Aggies.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why I remember that.
So yeah, college sports is about the only thing that really that I pay much attention to, and particularly football. I watch college baseball, and if there's nothing else to do, or in the finals, like Arkansas was in the World Champions World Series, College World Series. I'll get it out in a minute. And so I watched that. I watched them play. Or the basketball when the Final Four comes along, right? The playoffs. I'll watch those. Football now, I'll watch that every weekend if I can. College football. But other than that, yeah, I'd rather be out throwing the ball myself. You know, I'd rather be out, as you guys have said. You know, I'd rather be out doing it than watching it. So. Okay, so let's call it a night. Roberta, what have we been watching you color?
So this is a page from Cat and Mouse book 4. And here we go.
Nice.
And so it's a nice action scene. I love this character jumping out of the window. That's really exciting. I like how it's drawn.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
And so really nice points of view there. It's fun. Fun action.
Getting closer and closer to getting that one done, which excites me.
Getting that one out, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So So again, y'all, let me do this right here. Again, if you backed Beyond the Stars and Obsoletes and Cray, there's a glow on it. I'm trying to get the glow off. Those books should be coming fairly soon. I don't have them all yet. Like I said, Tommy I saw him yesterday, so he had to be this so I could see what it looks like in it. And it looks really good. You guys are going to be happy. If you're listening and you haven't backed our Kickstarter that's live now, please go over to Kickstarter and back that. If you find yourself in a situation where you cannot back, we totally understand. But you can share. You can do that. Share it and tell folks that how much you believe in us and believe in what we're doing, and convince them to go give their money to us. Heck, if you can't afford it, have them get it for you, right? But yeah, at least share it and tell everyone that they should back the project. Kurtis, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Sure. You can find all my social media through 2 different links. The first one is for my martial arts school. It's www.tigercrane.net. And for my upcoming comic book, Shadow Ghost, you can go to theshadowghost.com. So go ahead and check it out.
Excellent. Any upcoming conventions for you?
No. I'm just trucking away on the book and just kind of focusing on getting that thing done.
Get that finished first, right? And then you get some conventions in. You going to San Diego?
No, not this year.
Not this year. Pete, what about you? Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
On the Google, they type in Peter Clinton Art, and you'll find my social medias.
Excellent.
I've opened my pre-show commissions for Daytona Beach.
Excellent. We're gonna put something together and try to promote all of you guys to say, hey, you guys are coming. All of the artists that are going to offer the pre-show commissions and get those out there. So, so you guys want a commission from Pete? Since he lives across the big pond, now is the time to do it. You save yourself some postage. You just tell him what you want. He can roar it, and then he can bring it with him when he comes across the pond and deliver it to you by hand. So
that's right.
So do that. Any shows coming up for you, Pete?
No.
Daytona is your next show?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Excellent. Roberta, what about you? Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you look up Roby Conroy, you'll see me there. And here on Sundays. So that's it.
Excellent. What about you, Robbie? You going to San Diego this year?
Not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year.
I wonder how many people. I just wonder how many people are going to be skipping San Diego this year. Just with everything going on, and COVID still going around, and
Yeah, I mean,
you guys
it's
are in
not
California,
gone.
so
We're not in good shape in California.
yeah, that's kind of what what I'm wondering. I just wonder what attendance will be like, because I guess y'all heard DC's not going to San Diego this year.
Right?
Yeah, they're gonna have panels and things like that, but they won't have any floor presence, which is like huge because they were always one of the biggest presences on the floor. They had a phenomenal booth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it is called San Diego Comic Con, and DC being one of the big two.
Yes.
I find that to be incredibly interesting, and like I said, I'm just kind of curious to see how that's going to affect attendance and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yep. And well, you can find me on all of the social medias. Just look for Roland Man Roland. Look for my caricature. You're going to find me. Although I think on Twitter I changed it to that Trump's skull face thing. So look for me there. And yeah, don't forget we've got a Tuesday show. I didn't see those scheduled, so I'm not really sure what the Tuesday gang is talking about. They are 8 to 9:30 Pacific time for all of you folks on the West Coast. You can catch them, and then our Wednesday Whammers will be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we will be back here next. Excuse me, next Sunday, 8 p.m. and we might have Tommy with an eye patch back with us. Quick shout outs to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con, Coliseum of Comics. You guys make sure you frequent and spend some of your cash with them. These guys support us, but we want to do what we can to support them. Also to Orlando Collector Deviants and to Kablam. And unless you guys got anything else, I think that's it. I need to queue up the video. Curtis, you're muted.
Just remind everybody to check out our Kickstarter to make a pledge if you're so inclined, and to please share.
Do it.
Please.
Back it. Mm-hmm. All right. We'll see you guys next week. And remember to make mine Silverline. Good night, everyone.
Hi, my name is Sergio Cariello, and make mine Silverline.